I used to look in the mirror and lie to myself about why I was fat, big back, whatever you want to call it. I want to talk about some of those lies with you.
421. It's a movement.
God, I feel so fat. Like I don't want anybody to see my weakness.
I'm doing this to prove to the entire world anything is possible.
I think it is safe to say that we all have lived in a state of delusion at some point, lying to ourselves to justify or make a rationale of the decisions that we have made that led us to a position that is less desirable that we would like to be in. It could be, whether you are morbidly obese, in a bad relationship, maybe living in a state or city that you probably shouldn't live in. Whatever the case may be, we all like to provide that rationale for why we are there instead of admitting to ourselves the truth. My name is Shamika, creator and founder of the 421 movement and my project, The Wait Is Over. And in that project, I talk about why I started my weight loss journey in the first place, and also sets a foundation for what the 421 movement is about. So make sure you check that project out. Without further ado, the lies I used to tell myself about why I was fat in the first place. Up close and personal here. Lie number one, I am big boned. It was a lie that I would hear other people say, and I just repeated it to make myself feel better. If you are not familiar with the term big bone, it just simply means that your bones are larger than others, causing you to be obese, whatever the term again you would like to use. For those of you that are obese and you truly believe that you are big boned, I'm sorry to tell you the term big bone is a myth. There is no such thing as you having enlarged bones causing you to be obese. There is a term called bone density, but again, bone density still does not make you morbidly obese. I think it was a term to make myself an anomaly, right? Make myself be different than the normal person to be comfortable about why I was in that position. Having that term would make me not accountable for my weight, especially as I got older, right? But as I became more educated and understood that the term big bone was a myth, it made me look at myself in the mirror a little bit harder. Then that's when I came with lie number two. My metabolism is slow. And the reason why this is lie number two, having a slow metabolism can cause weight gain and obesity. That is a scientific fact. But what made it a lie for me was the fact that I never ever had it confirmed from a provider, nor have I ever been treated for having a slow metabolism. And I would argue most people that tell themselves that they have a slow metabolism have not had it confirmed by a provider. I even have conversations with individuals that I talk to on a day-to-day basis about obesity, and that is, again, very common. I have a slow metabolism. And I always ask, well, what tests did you have to confirm if you have a slow metabolism, and what are they giving you to treat it? And so in asking that, I get met with what are you talking about? Meaning, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you never had the test done to prove it or disprove it. Now, when I research this, it seems like it's kind of split. And what I mean by that is having a slow metabolism can cause weight gain and obesity, but also weight gain and obesity and also lifestyle changes can cause a slow metabolism. So they're interchangeable and they can be correlation and causation. And again, I welcome anyone that has any expertise in handling slow metabolism. Please make sure you go ahead and comment below. We are all, again, learning this together. But in essence, if you have not had that confirmed by a provider, then you are using it to lie to yourself and justify why you are obese. Okay? Which leads me to lie number three. I am happy being fat. Now, this lie is subjective because there are people in the world that are happy just the way they are. They love what they see in the mirror. They're comfortable in their body. They're comfortable in their own skin. And there is nothing wrong with loving yourself, no matter what size you are. And I don't want anyone to think that it is not. I think my biggest disconnect with happiness based off my own definition, and when I say my own definition, I think of happiness as being 100% content with the position that you are in. But when you hear those things in the back of your head, maybe you can call it the subconscious or your sixth sense or that little voice. I'm too fat. I'm disgusting. No picture. I can't wear that. I look big. Ew. Those type of thoughts do not cross your mind when you're happy being fat. Those are the thoughts that when I go into the store and go buy something that I probably should not have been eating, worry about the judgment of others. Finding the closest parking space so that way I didn't have to walk that far. Maybe even looking for the motorized carts. I know they still have those at Walmart because I didn't want to walk the entire store. Being embarrassed when I got on the motorized cart because I could see people see me on the cart because I was big. I was very self-conscious. Worrying about if I can fit in a plane seat. Worrying about if I go to the store, can I pick this dress and is it going to stretch out when I put it on? Is it going to look like the girl in the picture? Those are some of the thoughts that I would wake up every single day for years. You don't have those type of thoughts when you're happy with who you are. Those thoughts don't even run through your head. But if I told myself that lie so many times, I would start to believe it. The funny thing is, I was depressed about being fat. I didn't like it. People around me believed that I believed that I was happy being fat. So much so, I had a friend when I was in high school said, I thought you were like this happy-go person. What happened to you? They thought I was happy, but I didn't. I can remember this constant whirlwind that I would do to try to keep myself in that delusional place.
I'm happy.
I'm happy. I'm happy being fat.
I would say that to myself so many times that I would live there. I would live in that space. And I know I am not the only one guilty of that. And so that's why I am sharing it with you. A common lie I used to say, and I hear others say, is I don't eat that much. That is, in the most part, for many of us, a lie. Now, there are diseases and illnesses and medications that can cause weight gain or keep you at your same weight. One of the conditions is PCOS. I have seen women that were fit their entire lives gain weight after getting diagnosed with this. Another disease, and I will talk about it in future videos, is lupus. Now, I do have lupus. The medication prednisone, which is a steroid, causes weight gain. And I do think that there are many people that don't believe that they eat that much on the surface, right? They think or feel that their eating habits are normal. And then there are some of us that are consciously aware that our eating is not normal. And I want to speak to both of those. Going to a family gathering and getting 2, 3, 4 to-go plates and stating that this is going to be for your uncle, niece, nephew, cousin, your kids, whoever. And then when you get home, you eat every last drop. Going to get fast food every single day, maybe 2, 3 times a day. Having a pack of Debbie cakes in your car or in your room so nobody else can have any. Can't wait to get the largest slice of pizza, cake, cookie, pie, whatever is available to make you feel like, hey, I got the best. Having a serious dissatisfaction when a meal that you made did not turn out right and you need to go back and cook it again just to make sure that it's good the next go around. And you might even have 2 in one day. Those that go out of their way just to get a meal, never satisfied when you eat. Those of us that are ashamed to eat in public. We want to get an overabundance of food and we want to eat it in private so nobody can see us do it. And those are just some small examples. And if you have more, comment those below. I know for me, I knew that I was eating too much. And I would hide. But I think when you lie to yourself, you do yourself a disservice. The amount of food I would get, or I would wrap it up in a to-go plate right? And say, oh, I'm going to get this for later. And I could not wait to get home to devour every last drop. And I remember being young and people would call me out on eating too much too. I would tell them to mind their business. I don't eat that much, you know. Hey, I would even lie about my weight. And I would talk about that in future videos as well. Because I didn't want anybody to associate what I was eating with why I was obese, which was the truth. I was eating too much. That is why I was overweight. Not because I had a slow metabolism. Not because my bones were big. Not because, I was happy with myself in the mirror. I wanted to not take accountability on any level to justify the size and the skin that I was in at that time. It is not my goal to hurt anyone's feelings, make them feel uncomfortable, make them feel ashamed. This is what I like to call a reflection. Sometimes the truth hurts, especially if it applies to you. If you are hurting or you feel uncomfortable or any negative feelings after watching this, I want you to sit down and do some self-reflection. Unpack that. Why do you feel that way? Is it the truth? One of the greatest examples that I love to give is in my earlier 20s, I worked with one of my closest friends. And we were sitting in the car. And she said to me, I don't know where, she said, Shamika, I love you. But I think you should lose weight because I am concerned about your health. And I said to her, lie number 3. I said to her,
I'm happy being fat. I'm happy being fat. I'm happy being fat.
And that night, I went home. I took off the wig that I had bought to make myself look beautiful. The expensive, we'll talk about expensive later. I took off the expensive clothes and shoes that I had bought. And I looked in the mirror and I had a whole mental breakdown, tossing everything in the room, screaming, crying, throwing a fit. That was the beginning of the end of what I like to call my fat era. That was in 2016, 17. And again, in my project, The Wait Is Over. It serves as a foundation, but in episode 3 is why this is so personal. And again, while it is not my goal to offend anyone, if I offend 20 million people, if I can save one family from suffering the same fate that I did, then it's worth it. No one should have to walk through what we had to walk through as a family. Check out that episode. I love you guys, and I'll see you in part 2.